Why isn't the compressor stopping? I'm gonna have to turn this off. 100. Right, that's not right. That shouldn't be getting up to 190 psi. Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. I've had my Mercedes Vario truck for a little while now. If you've been following along, you'll know that I've been trying to iron out all the issues with the base vehicle in preparation for starting my camper van build series, which will be coming hopefully soon. However, in this week's video, I need to sort out another issue that I'm having with the base vehicle. It's a bit air related, it's a bit handbrake related. That's right, we're carrying on with the pneumatic handbrake fault. Now, if you've been following along, you'll know that I've been having issues with this bloody pneumatic handbrake circuit since I got the truck, basically. I pulled up outside the house one day, and then the next time I went to drive it, the tanks just wouldn't charge, and therefore I couldn't release the parking brake to move my truck. It sat there for ages while I was trying to get to the bottom of this issue. After connecting up my shop compressor, I worked out that the compressor wasn't producing enough air. Instead of rebuilding it, it turned out to be a wiring issue. And I made separate videos about that if you're having similar issues and you want to check it out, where you can't release your pneumatic handbrake, then that video might help. I then decided it would be a good idea to install some pressure sensors on the tanks so I could keep an eye on the air pressure, because the last thing you want is to be driving along and you have a significant drop in pressure in your tanks that you're unaware about, and then your handbrake just decides to come on. That wouldn't be good. That could happen on the motorway. It could happen in the middle of a busy city and then you can't move it. So I really wanted that pressure gauge up on the dashboard, or that digital readout, so I could monitor the pressure in the tanks and, well, be able to see if that was going to happen and then make a plan of action quickly to avoid being stuck in a awkward position. These are the catastrophizing thoughts that go through my mind sometimes. It's a cognitive distortion. Anyway, don't catastrophize, it's not good for you, but it is a good idea to have a pressure gauge up on the dashboard. So I made a separate video about that, so we can now monitor the pressure. In that video, when I went to test it out, for some unknown reason, the compressor just carried on running to a point where it nearly blew up. When I first started investigating this fault, it was quite overwhelming. The pneumatic circuit is fairly complicated for what it is. It's only doing a parking brake. Why they didn't make it cable operated, I'm not sure. Possibly because it's a 6-ton truck and they didn't want it rolling down hills. Maybe, yeah. That makes sense that it has to have a pneumatic parking brake. And I've been scratching my head the whole time trying to figure out what does what. But now I've actually got a manual for the Mercedes Vario truck. I got it from eManuals online, and it gives me access to the Whiz system, which is the workshop information system, and it has all the information I need on there. The cut-in pressure, the cut-out pressure, where the switches are located, so it makes my life a whole lot easier. It's even got all the circuit diagrams. This is a screen recording from the Whiz system that I'm using. I've just done a search on here for the compressed air system. I'll put a link in the description below to this specific Mercedes Vario manual from eManuals online, and if you use code Turner's Workshop 22 at checkout, you'll get 22% off. Because the compressor carries on running and it doesn't know when to shut off, immediately that says to me that it must be the cut-off pressure switch. It's getting up to a certain pressure, and despite having that pressure in the tanks, it's not opening the circuit to turn off the compressor. And so I've got myself a replacement switch right here. Scrolling down the page a little bit, we've got a full test procedure for the pneumatic brake circuit. And if we read line 9 there, check compressor on-off switching points. Switch B75 is the compressor switch on point. So that's the cut-on switch at 10.5 plus or minus 0.5 bar, and switch B74 is a compressor switch off point, so the cutout switch, and that's set to 12 bar plus or minus 0.5, which is the switch we need to replace. So if we scroll up the page again, we can see on this manifold we've got B75 and B74 there. It came in that massive box just for that. But there we go, that's our pressure switch there, and in today's video I'm going to be installing it, and we can see if it fixes the issue. So let's get on with it. Yep, she's still a little bit smoky even after a good service, but I think now I have an idea as to why it's so smoky, but I'll share that with you in another video, so stay tuned. As the compressor's running, I disconnect the cutout pressure switch and you can hear the compressor turns off. cut on, cut off. Going by the information I found on the Whiz system, the cutout pressure switch is set to 12 bar, plus or minus 0.5, which is equivalent to around 174 psi. So going by the pressure gauge on the dashboard, the compressor should have turned off by now, but it hasn't. As you can see, the compressor is still running and it's still charging the tanks. Okay, so that should definitely have turned off by now. I'm going to test our new switch and show you that it's normally closed. And then when it gets up to pressure, the switch opens. The pressure in the tank pushes in here to open the contact, which cuts the compressor off. I'm now going to go and test the one on the truck. With 180 plus PSI in the tank, this switch should have opened by now. So let's test it. I'm just going to take the electrical connector off and test the continuity across these contacts here. It should be open circuit. If it's not, then I'd say it must be the switch that's not turning the compressor off. There we go. You hear that beeping? That's continuity across the cutout pressure switch. So I'm going to drain the air out, change that switch, and hopefully now the compressor will turn off at 12 bar. So let's drain the tank. I've just put a bit of red tape on here so I know that's for the cutout switch, and then I'm going to disconnect this one as well to give me a bit more room to remove this. It wasn't too difficult to remove that. I've just loosened it off and now I can unscrew it, and it's sealed with a copper washer. I get a brand new copper washer, put it on my new pressure switch, and then screw it back into the manifold. With the new sensor in, I reconnect the cut-out pressure switch and the cut-in pressure switch, and then I just nip up the new pressure switch using my spanner. And with the new switch installed, let's not forget to close the drain plugs so that we can pressurize the system. Okay, let's see if it worked. Our new pressure switch has a cutout pressure of 12 bar plus or minus 0.5, which converts to about 167 to 181 psi. So let's see if she cuts off now. Yes! Get in! I'm just going to cycle the handbrake a few times to make sure it cuts in. So compressor's cut in. You can hear it. Four-second purge. Perfect. I then checked for leaks around anywhere I'd broken into the system. I just use a little bit of leak detection spray for this. That looks to have sealed up nicely. There aren't any bubbles, so let's just wipe off the excess. And then I also check the drain plugs as well to make sure they aren't leaking. That one looks to be good, so let's wipe off the excess and check the other one. And you can see the bubbles just coming through there. That one does actually have a leak. And while I was at it, I thought I'd check around to see if I could find any other leaks. And lo and behold, here we have another leak on the pressure reducing valve, I think it is. Ideally, I'd like my air system to be completely sealed with no leaks at all so that it holds pressure overnight. So in next week's video, we'll be sorting these leaks out, and I'll demonstrate to you why it's so important to make sure that the tanks are empty and why you shouldn't work on a live compressed air system. As always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video and you found it useful. If you did, please don't forget to like and subscribe and click the alarm bell, and I'll put links in the description below to any of the materials and tools you've seen in this video. Cheers guys.